Hello there, amazing viewers and subscribers. Welcome to the return of my series of my Doctor Who DVD Dispensation series. So for this series, I'm kind of going to talk about season 12. If you want to see my other series where I did part 1, my first video on this series was kind of on season 1. Second part was season 2. The third part was seasons 3 and 4. And then, of course, seasons 5 and 6 were part 4. Part 5 was season 7, part 6 was season 8, part 8 was season 9, part 9 was season 10, and part 11 was season 12. Season 11 was the last part, and that was part 10. So this is part 11, and we are now on to one of my favourite seasons of Doctor Who, and this is my second favourite season of Doctor Who, for the 4th Doctor, played by the amazing Tom Baker. Now, at the end of this year, from the 28th of December, it's going to be the 50th anniversary of this season, because technically this season is now 49 years old, and Tom Baker has recently just celebrated his 90th birthday. And he's actually the proper Doctor who has lasted this long to get into his early 90s, where other Doctors kind of passed away before they hit 90. So Tom Baker's the one that's kind of hit the milestone right now, and I'm absolutely happy about that. So looking back at season 12, aka the season that is now 49 years old and soon to be 50 by the end of 2024. So for this DVD dispensation, I'm going to show you all the DVD releases, and then of course the Blu-ray release that we've got. Now the Blu-ray does come a bit more because I've only got one version of it, where it was released released quite a few times, so I will try and put the pictures in. So where to start this DVD dispensation from? It is of course straight into the very first story, and the very first time this story was released onto DVD was way back in 2007 with Robot, Tom Baker's opening story, and it is absolutely fantastic, and the best way for a 2007 DVD release, because back then series 3 was airing, so it's quite nice to have a Tom Baker, including his very first ever story release back then. In 2002 we have, I believe, the second DVD release for Tom Baker, and it is the second story, and as you can tell, it is signed by Tom Baker. It is The Ark in Space. How good's that, eh? So 2007, we kind of had these two back to back, which is absolutely quite cool if you think about it. And then of course in 2012 we had, in 2013 we had the Ark in Space Special Edition released onto DVD, and of course it's just a special edition from that one, but has brand new CGI operation effects, which was transferred from the DVD onto the Blu-ray. So we do have that story there. Let's just move Robot along, move them along there and there. The third story of the season was of course Doctor Who and the Sontaran Experiment, and it was released on DVD back in 2006. Now the only way you can get this is either you can get this either singly or in a big box set with the rest of the Sontaran stories, and this is a fun little two-parter, and I actually do quite enjoy it. Following the story where the Doctor goes down to sort the transmat beacon from Nether Beacon, and of course he comes across an old enemy, aka a Sontaran. Now this Sontaran is actually the same actor that plays Lynx in the previous season in The Time Warrior, which is actually quite cool if you think about it. And then of course in 2006 we have Tom Baker's 4th story as the 4th Doctor. I'm literally just going to quickly move that away so you can actually see Robot. So Tom Baker's 4th story was then released in 2006 with Genesis of the Daleks, the best Dalek story in my opinion. I absolutely love this story, and the fact basically it's kind of mess around with the Doctor's introduction to the Daleks, where the fact the first Doctor encounters the Daleks so many centuries later in the Daleks timeline, that the fact the Time Lords send the 4th Doctor back, which kind of sets the Time War off, because they kind of send the Doctor to try and stop the Daleks from ever being created, and of course the Doctor does fail, but he does delay the Daleks for centuries. And then, of course, the last and final story was released back in 2010 in a DVD box set with Silver Nemesis. So it was the DVD artwork. Silver Nemesis, it is a brilliant story. I will get that round to that point when I talk about season 25. But Revenge of the Cybermen, it is a fantastic story, and it does kind of close the season, but it wasn't actually originally supposed to, because the story that originally was going to close this season was going to be Terror of the Cygons, but that was moved to the opening story of season 13. But Revenge of the Cybermen, this is the only Cyberman story for the 1970s, and what can I actually say about the DVD release? The fact it doesn't have anything special for it, like where the Ark in Space kind of got operational new CGI effects. This story doesn't really have that on DVD, not until it came out on Blu-ray back in 2018. But the story itself is actually quite good, because I do love the Vogons and I do love Tom Baker as the Doctor. And when you've got the Fourth Doctor coming across my second favourite villains, the Cybermen, it actually is quite good, because when the Cybermen literally tie him up and they go, you will crash into the planet Voga. Oh, bye-bye then. I absolutely do love Tom Baker, because he actually makes me laugh, especially when all the rocks fall on him. He goes, Harry Sullivan is an imbecile. I really love that. So that is the final story of season 12, and that is what your DVD shelf for season 12 should look like, with Robot that came out in 2007. We have the original release of the Ark in Space from 2002. Then, of course, we have the 2013 special edition release of the Ark in Space. Then, of course, we have the 2006 DVD release of the Santoran Experiment, followed by the same following year with 2006 for Genesis of the Daleks. And then, of course, in 2010, we had the release of Revenge of the Cybermen. So that is what your DVD collection for season 12 should actually look like. But now it's time to talk about Doctor Who, the collection, season 12. So to have all of these stories from going from 6 DVDs into one little box set, including having the brand new CGI effects for the Ark in Space transferred to it, with having also a new version with new special effects of Revenge of the Cybermen. Now, this story, this season in the collection range was actually released 3 times. So we have the original special edition, which kind of sold out so much that it never made, they never made enough for it, so it came back in the fandom. And people really missed out on this one, and they really wanted it. And then, of course, in 2020, just before they released season 14, they re-released this with the second edition. Now, unfortunately, I did own the original release, but I had a few problems with mine, because the sound effects wasn't right on the Santoran Experiment and Revenge of the Cybermen. So this one is actually a fantastic one, because it is the second edition that was released, and I'm actually quite happy that the fact I actually do have season 12 and a proper fully working one. And to be honest with you, this is also available in the standard release, which is more of a small Blu-ray packaging like you do for the rest of the Blu-ray sets for the Doctor Who universe. But I actually prefer the standard, I actually prefer the limited edition sets compared to the standard ones. So that is everything for season 12. So join me for the next DVD Disputation series, when, of course, we'll be talking about season 13. Join me then.